Great to be back on, boys. It's been a couple of weeks, but what a game to come back on to discuss here on Full Time Devils. So Francis Maxwell here from TYT Sports, talking some tactics. Huge game, travelling to play against Leicester, who are top of the table. So let's talk some tactics. So based on the very dull performance, it has to be said, boys, against and girls, against PSV, this is a lineup that I would want to say I'm going to go with the lineup that I want to see, but I've just came to the realization that no matter what lineup I really want to see, it really depends on what Louis van Gaal wants to play. So based on what we know at the moment in terms of any injuries or anything else that's going on, the same back four I would line up with, but I would put in Young for Damian, and I'll tell you specifically why. That's the reason to go with that. Schweinsteiger, Schneiderlin, Rooney, Memphis, Lingard and Martial. So very similar to what they lined up with against PSV. I would love to see Herrera obviously come into that lineup, but we have to talk about what Van Gaal is going to play and what United can kind of do to try and turn this into the best possible result. So what I want to break down tactically, talking about Leicester City, is of course they are not to be taken lightly. They're sitting top of the table. This isn't just a fluke run anymore. This is a team that has to be basically approached with caution. Vardy is the most informed striker in the Premier League at the moment, and rightly so. He is considered as one of the best strikers. This isn't a fluke, as I mentioned, anymore. He is being very strategic in his movement, and it has to be tracked. So I'm going to take two basically games as my case study for Leicester City. They do this so often. They utilise Vardy in every single attack. And he doesn't score, obviously, every single move that they have, but he has a role to play, and that role is to stretch the back line. It's to create gaps, whether or not he's going to make a run into that gap, or he's going to force a team to basically pack all of their defenders into one side and attack the weak side, as I have talked about before. So they did this against Newcastle. This is where they got their first goal from. They did this against West Brom. They hit the post, but then they utilised the same move to create space in behind. Now, what happens with Leicester City is, in doing so, what they do in their attack is they'll often push forward, whether it's going to be Albrighton going forward or whether it's going to be Mahrez. And what they'll do is they'll put Vardy onto that last man. They'll put him onto the last man at first, and what they'll do is they'll push Aloha to check in. So he'll check into the ball. Naturally, one centre-back will probably be drawn in, but they might pass him over to a holding midfielder. Then what Vardy does is he makes this dart and run into the channel, and he's so quick that naturally the centre defenders are drawn in. And this leaves a defender with the dilemma to either go with Aloha in there. So if it's Dele Blin, he might go with Aloha, or he might just sit home, which he probably should do. But naturally, more defenders will be drawn in there. Smalling will go across because Vardy will come across to cover. And then what they do is they push forward with Albrighton or with Mahrez in there, and they'll push forward with the ball in here and try and utilise Jamie Vardy to either one of two options. He'll either spin in behind, and it's this threaded pass through, which they did so well against Newcastle and got the first goal, or he'll just be this distraction. And what then will happen naturally is Rojo will drift across, and this gap in here is huge. And Albrighton is fantastic at driving that ball into the back post. I'm so surprised he hasn't got as much credit as Mahrez. I know Mahrez has been on point with his assists and with his goals, but these two wide players are so in sync. Whether it's Albrighton on this side, you'll see the exact same from Mahrez coming in on the opposite side. But what happens usually is Albrighton will look for that pass, involve Vardy in there first. If he's not there, he might put it into Aloha and start their move again. Or he'll do this direct pass in behind and try and attack that weak side. Manchester United need, and I stress this, they need to be aware of this. Now, this is going to come down to whoever's playing it right back. I know I mentioned Young, and I will talk about that from an attacking standpoint, but this is a big job for Schneiderlin. He has to be in there to make sure to cut out this seam, because if they can get an easy pass into Vardy, what they will do is they'll utilise that, and I'm comfortable and confident that Smalling can match Vardy in a one-on-one situation. Smalling is one of the best defenders, I think, in the Premier League at the moment. But what I'm worried about is that ball into the back post, because Rojo naturally, I think he's more of a centre defender than he is a left back. He does do a good job in there, but what a centre defender naturally does is they're focused on the ball and focused on taking their position up centrally. So if that does happen, what Rojo has to ensure is that he either has Memphis to come back and track if he's going to tuck inside, or he'll need to make sure to cover this area and just stick on Mahrez at the weak side back post, because Leicester have done this time and time and time again. The majority of this tactics will be around neutralising Leicester, because I think that going forward, Manchester United understand that there's complexities there within the team. They need to figure some stuff out. But not conceding against Leicester when they're playing at home is going to be crucial in winning this game. I've seen it be I see it being a hard game, a hard-fought victory, if anything, like a 1-0. So this is going to be essential in stopping this. So, as I mentioned there, it's all about communication on that back line, ensuring that if Vardy does make that run, he's tracked by Smalling, but Schneiderlin's going to have a very tough task on his hand to cut out those seams. Don't allow that straight pass for Vardy, and then it's going to cohesively work its way over to Rojo, who can't be caught at the back post. Now, moving on to what they want to do going forward. So let's look at things from an attacking standpoint from Manchester United. So I'm going to highlight the first goal against Watford. They overwhelmed Watford's left-hand side, pushed Ashley Young forward, which is why I want to play him in this game, because this is going to be the way to basically overwhelm Leicester City. All of the goals Leicester City have recently conceded, whether it be West Brom, and I'm going way back to the conceded 2 goals against Southampton, is from wide areas. They are not the best at marking balls into the box, whether it be a corner, whether it be a first-time cross. They don't mark up runners as well as they should do. So that's why I want to play Ashley Young, because the goal that happened against Watford, this is a simple reenactment of what happened. The ball got outside, they flooded the wide areas, found this gap in here. Memphis Depay made this run across, straight in, first-time finish. That's what Manchester United need to do against Leicester, is utilise the wide areas, because Leicester, they seem assured in every position in the field. You're not going into Leicester thinking, okay, we keep possession in the final third, we'll find a gap and we'll score, because Manchester United aren't playing as freely as they should be at the moment. So where they have strength is pace in the wide areas. Get the ball into Lingard. Get Ashley Young overlapping, because you're not going to have it with Rojo on this side. Whether it be Rojo coming forward, he's not going to have that same pace or the finishing product that Ashley Young has on his cross, especially from a right area. What you want to do is make sure that you get the ball into Lingard as early as possible, overwhelm them in the wide areas, and try and get the balls into the box. Let's try and get it back into Martial. He hasn't been firing on all cylinders, but we have to increase our chances. Against PSV, I think the whole game was highlighted when I watched the recap of it, when there was one chance in the first half. I think it was for PSV, and then the chance in the second half came from Lingard, which he ballooned over the bar. There's not enough chances being created. Manchester United have been known to be quick on the counter-attack, get the ball into the wide areas, and get it into the box, because that's what's going to beat Leicester, I'm afraid. It's not going to be this nice, intricate football, because Manchester United aren't playing that at the moment. It's going to be utilising what their strengths are. Pace in the wide areas and get it into the box, because Leicester do not track runners in that area as much as anything else. But to go back to it, this tactical video was more about defending, because Leicester do have the most threatening striker in the league at the moment, and that's how you're going to neutralise that attacking threat for them. We want to know what you guys think over here at TYT Sports, so you can come over here and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section below there what you think of the end result. I'm going to predict a 1-1. Maybe a little pessimistic, but I'm going to be realistic here. It'll be a great result if Manchester United can beat Leicester and kind of knock them off that top spot. A vital game, but I think 1-1. Thanks again, guys. Follow me on Twitter at Francis_Maxwell. Cheers.
My name's Thomas Pope, a Red from Salford, currently living in Belfast, Northern Ireland.